Having lived in Scotland for the first 21 years of my life, I find myself now drawn back to enjoy its natural beauty, visiting new areas for the first time. I find it incredible that so many of my English friends have yet to even cross the border. Yes, the weather can be wet, but the scenery is just as dramatic regardless of the weather. As part of a longer holiday this year, I wanted to spend a couple of days visiting the Isle of Mull. The most direct route to get to the island is to use the ferry from Oban, 90 miles or so northwest of Glasgow. However, by driving that route, you miss out on the drama of Glencoe. A more scenic route is to use two shorter ferry crossings, the first at Corran. Within 10 minutes, you arrive at Ardgour on the area known as Ardnamurchan. The difference in the pace of life is immediately evident. It's Faith described the weather as dreich on her very first morning. This single-track road, with passing places, is as good as it gets for the next 20 miles, and this is the A road. As we boarded our second ferry of the day at Loch Aline, it took just a further 30 minutes to arrive at Fishnish on the Isle of Mull. The 13th century Duart Castle, the seat of Clan Maclean, was just a few miles along the coast. A beautiful setting, and nowadays a wedding venue as well as a film location. That's the ferry en route to Oban. Thankfully there's a tea shop here too, as it's compulsory when on holiday to fit in as many scones as possible. Our destination was Tobermory in the north of Mull, but with the forecast due to brighten up, we headed south to spend the afternoon at the most southerly point, at the beautiful fishing village of Fionfort. Glorious weather by this time, and whilst we sat on the beach to eat our ice creams, day trippers boarded the ferry to visit the famous monastery on the opposite island of Iona. That's on our to-do list for next time. Many passing places later and approaching Tobermory, the road widened to something near normal. We arrived late afternoon and passed the colourful seafront properties to check in our hotel, sitting high above the bay. Then a walk to see the action in Tobermory on a summer's evening.
It's quite windy for some of us, and we've also got some showers around. The heaviest showers are across Scotland and Northern Ireland, where they'll be on and off as we go through the course of the day. At the moment we're looking at some very high waves, between 3 and 5 metres, particularly so off the coast of West Scotland. Now as we go through the course of the morning, the waves will peak probably in the next hour or so, and then very slowly they'll start to subside. But wherever you are, you will notice the wind.
Well, the BBC got it right today. Boy, was it windy. But it wasn't raining. We stopped off for a walk at Calgary Beach, and again a little further south, where the water from the falls seemed to be blowing vertically upward. Having not been in water for over 24 hours, it was time for another boat trip, this time just to lunch on Alva. An interesting system in place here to request the ferry. The captain of the boat was also the son of the owner of this private island, as well as the father of the owner of the Boathouse Inn. Just 16 people live here now, but there were over 600 inhabitants back in the 19th century, making kelp, which is a seaweed product. We continue with further exploration the following day, en route back to the ferry to the mainland, to continue our holiday. So, just a taster of Mull on this trip, and for those who have yet to experience the beauty of Scotland and its west coast islands, I hope you might be tempted.
The master and crew welcome you on board for this sailing, and we hope that you enjoy the crossing. Please listen very carefully to the following safety announcement. Your attention is drawn to the safety instruction notices which are displayed throughout this vessel.